Hello. So yeah, I continue working with my 3DO PC port, the emulation of the some of SDK function and the cell renderer. And at some point I thought, okay, I might be lost in the weeds though because I could be going on Bizarro engine, but I decided to get a lot of the experiments 3DO, which I have a lot of stuff here that is doing various things on the 3DO, on the cell engine, and so on. And I decided to start porting it on my PC project. I have ported the tutorial lessons, and now I have ported this one, the common here. Why do I have? Okay. I have copied the assembly. I'm not using the assembly stuff because I'm not emulating the ARM yet. I have C functions for those, and I see that they are copied in the project. Yeah, I'm not using it. Port 3DO base. Yeah, that's the one. That's the Visual Studio one. And the thing I try to do, so all of this project, the tutorial and the experiments, they are commonly using the hardware, the cell renderer, which I evolve, and the SDK functions, which I implement every time I implement only the necessary ones. And the good thing is by porting the experiments, I started to implement few more stuff that were necessary. And I also discover more bugs. But right now, the other thing with the Visual Studio, I have never done a solution with multiple projects, and that I managed to do it, but very tediously. I don't know if I do it well. I have to manually add some of the stuff and then copy the same project. And there is a kind of a duplication because this one has the 3DO hardware SDK. But this one also has the 3DO hardware SDK. Now, if I made a change in this one, because they all refer to the common file, it's gonna work. But what if on the SDK, what if I add new files? I realize I need to add a new include and a new more stuff from the SDK in the future. Then I'll have to go, if I add them here, I have to go here, 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 and add them too. And also every time I do stuff like, which is okay. If I add things on the cell renderer, I'm going to the Bizarro undergroup port where I have the same. I have separated that project. I don't want to have all of them because I'm not sure. And I copy the changes here, so that it is a bit of tedious. And also, as I'm working either on the PC port of those projects or on the PC port of Bizarro, I find things that crash on Visual Studio because of a mistake I did, and it didn't crash on 3DO, but it goes wrong because so I have found oversights, which is good. So if in the game code, not in the 3DO hardware SDK or the common is the ones I use on the game, bro. If I find a bug, that's a good one. Then I compare. I go here and I compare and I copy the changes and I try to make things to be exactly the same. And I have changed things in a way that you could throw your whole 3DO project in the PC port, and you only need to change here here is main 3DO, and I made some change previously, so there are previously because on the PC this main 3DO, it might say return 0, but core run, which is even here, what are you doing? It is a while true now because it's gonna run endlessly after the init, the initialization. And in the previous versions, so this goes through new iteration. The previous version, I don't know if we can see some log. I don't understand. I don't understand why I cannot show log here. I used to be able to do it. I did a major change, which is really great. It used to be, I had to change even things from the main project, and I had, yeah, I had to push a return after, and this is code that has nothing to do with the SDK. This is code on the Bizarro engine. This is 3DO code. This is your code. Okay, so I would have to tell you, make your main function to not stick in your endless game loop. But if you code something, it's gonna be in an endless game loop that never exists. Make it exist so that it goes back to the. This is the SDL main. So when I call your main 3DO, it will go here, go through the SDL loop, and will loop around, and I will call the input, which the input has, if you press escape, but it also emulates the 3DO. I made all these things much better because when I started porting the lessons, I realized the lessons were even different, and also the experiments. So I'm very happy with that because everything I ported could be handling different. It could be going its own loop. For example, the experiments are even more involved because that's the SDL main, by the way. It's the project. It will run the effect selector. No, previously, I would have the co-run return so that it goes return and it goes back to the SDL loop. But now it's different. Now I'm initting the SDL on the SDL project and I'm calling main 3D and that's it. But it might not never return. I just put return 0 so that because to not have the warnings. And previously I would expect this thing to exit. Forget this return. This co-run will run forever and never return because this co-init will happen once. But it was even worse because I had on the 3DO, on the experiments, I have this effect selector which also goes into the end of the display screen. Loop, loop, loop. I am selecting. There is input. So I had previously to also return from that one, and it was I had to hack my 3DO project code to accommodate that you have to return an SD loop, and I did the obvious, which I haven't did before. No, your 3DO program will run in its whole and it will loop, and I will just when I call display screen. Okay, this is on my game and experiment code. In the SDK, this graphics is on the SDK. Because this is mine. This is the thing I will provide to the user. That one, I can hack. I can do anything I want with that because that's my part. That's the framework. I can include SDL. I try to avoid dependencies. I don't want you. If you want to port your project, I don't want you to say, include SDL so that I can see it. No, this is isolated. And simply, every time display screen comes, I will update the 3D. And this is gonna call, in the main function, in the main SDL, it's gonna call the thing that renders the 3D screen and SDL update and so on. And I'm gonna pass the, I have done things much better in some way. And I also have the input. Now I have separated, there is the 3DO input. And I have separated my input, the input of the SDL application, where I want to see if escape pressed, so that I can quit from the application on PC. And I have some buttons for frame rate display, some kind of, it's not even a true VSync. So I have isolated. Now this thing will be called when on the SDK and only on the SDK when the event get control pad. I will call that one so that the SDL input will save to this one, which is locally here. I used to extend those two, and I used to extend the video input, but I don't. So I've done things much better, so that everything is isolated. I have to do the mouse, so that I will provide this one, and the project will be empty. In the project, you will copy your 3DO code as it is, no changes. The only change, if you had a main, call it main 3DO. I'll see if I can even do that, if I can call it main 3DO, and you must have a header, a main 3DO header that also includes this one, so that I can see it. And on main I'm only including, this is the only thing that I include from your project, so that I can call your main 3DO, and everything is isolated, so that the SDK function for update, display, and input will call the functions here. They will call back. So, and that's the thing I did, because I had every project I ported. I realized that in some cases I was going into an infinite loop in the effect selector and then going to the core run, which is another infinite loop, and it would not return. And I realized I had to hack my 3DO project code. That I don't want to make other people or even my projects. And this is great, because now I will throw all the code from my 3DO project, and it will, with minimal changes, it will be probably alright. But the thing is, if I copy some other projects I have, the 3Dendro, the STN ICC, and that's the other thing, I will realize that maybe I call another 3DO SDK, or I'm using another trick from the Shell engine that I don't emulate, and I already failed to emulate a lot of stuff. Anyway, now my problem with that is I'm not sure how to properly work with multiple projects. What I do, this is bold. If I want to run, I don't know, this, I have to set a startup project. And now, if I press F7, it's gonna build all of them. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the right way. And I guess if you want to build this one, some of this file are mirror. That's my other problem. The main is here, here, here. I don't know. So if I edit this main, it's also this and this, but that's fine, because those will be very rarely changed. And I want those files to be common. But if I open this main 3DO, it's the main 3DO from this project and this folder. And this is a different one. But I just have to be sure that this is the feedback one. If I instead of F7 I press Ctrl B, yeah, it's gonna build that one. But if I open the experiment mesh, and this is there, Ctrl B, it's gonna build experiment mesh. It's already built. And because this is bold, if I press F5 or something, it's gonna run that. And here it is. Today I implemented the exclusive OR because this was working with the exclusive OR functions of a special cell function. And I just did some dirty thing that I get the special flag. This is something I haven't used much, but because of the selector, so here in the pixel processor, I'm kind of duplicating. Okay, now these are things that I will think if it's better to write like this or in another way. And I have at some point to see if the performance is going to be degraded. So I'm doing an exclusive OR. I said not do XOR because I thought, I don't know if this is a bit premature though, that since the majority of the cells are going to use the addition and the exclusive OR is rare, it's better that to go first here and escape than check if this is and then go there. But maybe this is a premature thought because you don't know what the compiler produces and who knows about branch prediction and all that stuff. That's why I'm saying if it's not XOR, do the common thing, then go to that. And I read that there is also subtraction, something I haven't used, and if it's not XOR, I have to. And then there is a dilemma whether I should duplicate or. But these are things that I have to investigate slowly and see. I mean, what can you do? An operator? It could be an expensive thing. An operator that changes depending, or maybe another function. Oh god. I prefer to duplicate some things for now. And that's for the exclusive OR. I have a lot of ideas about that. Anyway, so now, no matter where you do, if you run F5, you're gonna... Oh, I'm already running it. So, and I have all these tests, and a lot of things don't work. The mesh work now. Oh, why is it failing? Okay, let's vsync a bit. I wouldn't even get that previously. I would get a black screen. But now I get the object there. Oh, that can be a matrix issue. Or a projection. That's interesting, that's different. It could be that. Let's make debug. Okay, I will just run and it's gonna, the one that is bold. Yeah, okay. Another bug that happens on release and not on debug. Or happens on debug and not on release. There are things that work better on release because I have bugs that happen on debug only. Maybe some zero values. Now, it is surprising because this one works. This one with and it goes a bit fast. I'm going to press the VC thing to lock it a bit. I was surprised that this works. With so many polygons and doing this. So there are things, even from 3D, that work surprisingly well. And there are things from 2D. It doesn't matter. I might be doing more things with the cell there. And that's because the first thing I ever ported was the cell engine. Not the cell, the Bizarro underground. That uses more 3D stuff, that uses 8-bit and 16-bit textures, 8-bit palettage. The things that I wasn't expecting to work, works. Now look at this, I'm changing now look at this nice phenomenon, okay. maybe, okay. The frame rate for that is that when I switch, it's much better, and there is a reason. Because oh my god, it goes so fast. Because look at this texture is smaller. It might be like 4 by 4. This texture is might be 16 by 16. Because there are higher more texels to read and decode. This one that happens to be using a much smaller. And it's also using the blending somehow. This is pretty cool. I would go fast. Now, I don't know why this failed also. But now if I switch, it works. This is the software render that happens in... It happens on cell texture. The CPU software renders. Of course the CPU here is crazy. I don't know. Okay, this is also broken on the 3D because I made some changes. That used to be the environment mapping. And I never fixed it. So that's not a problem. This works fine, I think. It's broken because the 3D code is broken. And look at this. This works. It even goes crazy. I'm not timing the movement. I'm not timing the movement with... For a cell render, emulated cell renderer, it does pretty well. Okay, when I watch from here and there, all the cell textures are on, and I think those textures on the cube are 64 by 64, and they're shaded by the cell. They might be 8-bit texture palletized, from what I remember. And it still does, even from this view where everything is in the view. And I could optimize that more. So I'm surprised that it's so fast. Probably my animation wasn't based on the delta timing, it was based in a incremental thing. So that's a problem of my 3D code that I never... Okay, I'm going to add the vsync thing. That's not a vsync on PC, it's just a lock at 50 frames. For some reason, the stars are not here, but probably I broke something on the 3D because even on the 3D, now this is the software render. If you go close, it's gonna crash, and that's what happens also because I haven't. I have not taken care of the software render is unfinished of the clipping when you go close. I was very amazed. And now here is the thing. I ran the skybox, and in the skybox, I think I'm also using 16-bit textures and 8-bit palettes. I don't use something crazy. I think at least. I might be wrong. And I get those wrong colors. So sometimes in some parts that I think I'm gonna check though. The skybox works. It's pretty fast. The cell emulation is pretty fast so far. I see some empty pixels there. Some polygons are not closing. I am missing some pixels, some gaps. But the colors are wrong. I have to see that. And with some of that stuff I was surprised because I think I'm using formats that I already emulate. And the colors in the Bizarro Underground port. I don't emulate most formats, but I think the skybox was 16-bit. I have to check. But maybe there are some other flags that maybe the reading the flags is not correct. It happened. Maybe there are some more flags that should flip the other way, and I'm doing a mistake in the reading. I can't explain. Now this is correct though. Now, I want to check because this one I think it came blue. But did it came blue? Yeah, on debug mode it comes blue. That tells you something. I have a mistake somewhere. Yeah. Particles. Okay. Again, my particles are not properly timed. They do the blending, okay. The blending is what you expect with the pixel processor. You even see the mistakes here, that is also on the 3DO. If you try, yeah, I'm really happy where this is going now, the height map. Here's the thing, that's the hard man. I was doing a lot of billboards and that works correctly. The height map but with billboards. And I noticed that if I run the debug mode, if I run the particles with the debug mode, there are no particles, but I think there is something wrong with the... And the height map crashes, and I realize it crashes, and it's trying to read the palette. I've checked. The thing is, I can go to every experiment I do and do exactly okay. What are the cells? And the cells do not have a palette. The cells are 16-bit. And that pointer is correct because I put it to null or something, or I didn't set it. It should be doing the color. So, for example, this is supposed to be the palletized. Row is the unpalletized, that's the pallet. If I hack it, I put that, but I don't know, that could be wrong, of course. But if I hack it, oh, yeah, I hacked it and everything broke. Is it that one? That's funny. That's funny. Is it the last one? Okay, but nothing happened. Okay, I have to see this. Maybe that's something different. It's not supposed to go here. It's supposed to go here. Let's do that. But this is gonna crash for other reasons. Okay, still there's another. I wanted to make it. Okay, yeah. Don't hack it. Don't hack. I have to see why. So for some reason, in debug, when it tries to read the cell somewhere before, it realizes that it needs a palette. It is palletized, so it doesn't go here where it should go. It goes here. Yeah, okay. A lot of this debug release works, debugs that doesn't work are because you usually values on release. If you forgot to initialize them, sometimes it's that they are initialized to 0, but on debug they are initialized to something else. Oh, I almost know. And now they've, oh my god, that's the one that is very slow in. I see some distort. I have to see what that distort. I have to see if the 3DO does it too, because of how big those are, or my cell render is overflowing some numbers that the 3DO. Because some of these bugs might not happen on the 3DO necessarily. It might be overflow only on the PC side because of my fixed point implementation. And the way this part is very slow on 3DO because I'm trying to stream 3 flea animations from the CD-ROM because I cannot fit them all in memory. Here it's like, okay, it is a bit excessive. So I was running the mess and I was, oh, mess run. Now the feedback, this is not going to run fast. Why? Because it's the feedback effect, and I haven't implemented any the function that says okay, and it shouldn't be hard. Read the texture like it is from the videoram format, the zigzag videoram format, and not like a linear. It should be easy because all of the feedback will be 16-bit videoram style. So I need to have one boolean and change the read to one. But I will see how complex it will happen in the decode pixel processing. And now you just get that. Okay, it works, but it's totally wrong. This one, I don't know. I'm doing some feedback with something that is rendered, then do the Maria effect or whatever. This one, look, it does the mosaic and then pop, the frame pops, and it's all wrong. I think I see in some of them, I see the scan line, and I think I know. Whoa, look at that. And when at some place I see there is something else. I'm making, okay, I think I know. Oh god. Because the screen is 320 by 240, and I think I don't even know about this guy. Also on the other one, you see these vertical stripes. I think my decode code, well, the colors are also wrong, but there must be some other. Is lazy. My decode code assumes things are power of 2 because that's how I ported Bizarro. It happened that the textures were power of 2, and also my decode code reads this is okay 16 bits. No, 16 bit is that, but okay, this value is 32. My decode code decided let's read 4 bytes at one and break them. If it's 8 bit, break them 4 times. That might be an unsigned. Why is it a U in the 16? Because later that's raw 8-bit. I don't think I use that. I use the pilotized. The 4-bit, for example. So I based it on that. Can it divide by 8? Can the width divide by 8? Then, and I don't do the extra work right now. If your texture width is not divided by 8 by 4, it goes lazy just to work, just to get to make one read and break it in 4, unroll it in 4. But obviously that doesn't work for not powered. Then I have things that are not powered and I get those. That might be the case. So all of this needs work, and I realized, so there are a lot of things that have to change in the cell render, and at some point it will become slower, and I will have to think a lot. Now this I know why this doesn't work, because I have to properly implement the atan. This might get a bit slower, it's faster here, but because this one is a much bigger, it's a texture much bigger than the screen, I might use super clipping on the 3DO side, but here I don't. Here I loop outside and just discard the pixel. I do a lot of extra work. And those are also very big. They are 128 by 128, and they are wrong because I haven't implemented the atan 2 correctly. The fixed point atan from the 3DO. It was just a hack. Now, if you switch to, this is the 4BBB. I switch to packed. Now, I haven't implemented 4BBB packed. If I put that and switch to packed, now it's just wrong. Because I'm on release. In debug it crashes. And I thought that I have implemented the packed well. And I have some serious bug, because in Bizarro Underground the starting screen, the menu screen, is a big packed texture. And that works. It's a 16-bit packed. But here the packed fails for some reason. And this is a mess on packed. And it crashed when I switched to the other packed. So I thought the unpacked was well, because if you run the Bizarro, the static screen is unpacking with this packed thing. I have 8-bit, 16-bit, the 4-bit is empty now. I have to implement. I don't know, so I might have some serious issue. I don't know why. Because if the packed 16-bit works, some of them are 16-bit. It should work here too. But I'm gonna check it. Now I was expecting this to work, that one fails. By the way, this is 50 because, oh damn, because you don't see the actual speed. Because the project, the 3DO project, normally I had a core no vsync. Yeah, see, I have it commented out. And if you have the default though, then okay, I think if I press select, not shift for select button. Okay, now it's on vsync mode. So okay, this is on the 3DO project. Now I don't understand. These are the background layers. I don't understand how this is so broken. Because again, some of these formats should. Oh, is it? I will see. This is also broken. Because these are some of these big screens are 16-bit RAW, and I have implemented that, and it works with test images on the Bizarro underground. But I'm gonna figure that that is the Julia, man. And now I have synced it off. It's fast because it's on PC. It's CPU code on PC. Now this is totally wrong, and I know why. The reason I have problems, that is a problem of a 3DO. Because this is a purely CPU based effect where I was doing some bit arithmetic. But this bit arithmetic, it works in big endianess. And I have to make my code also work. So it expects that this is gonna happen on the 3D on big end. I might have to flip things around for. And I have to figure out how. Because this is a bit. This was optimized for the 3DO anyway. This is the sphere mapping. Again, blue. I see a lot of blue. Which made me wondering why. Why a lot of these things come blue with stripes. It could be that they all take the wrong path in the flags and try to. It's easy to check. I can put a breakpoint and I can later see, okay, what is the format of the cell I'm creating for this one? Is it palletized, unpalletized, 16-bit, 8-bit? And then go and check, simply check. Simply check. On the other side, put a breakpoint on my cell render and see, oh, that for some reason comes something else. Why? Okay. Those are easy to fix, but those experiments will help me. I'm just now porting stuff. Now, I made the flea animation work, but you see, there are some broken stuff. Again, this is an endianness thing. This is resynced always. This is resynced from the 3DO code and not from the PC code. If the 3DO code forces vsync, you cannot vsync and not vsync on the PC. Now I have to remove that. Okay. And then I will press the P button on PC to vsync. Now I vsync it on the SDL application. By the way, let's see if this is the bottleneck of the SDL. If I move that so that the SDL doesn't have to draw that all, it goes even faster. So we are reaching the bottleneck 700 frames. It's crazy. Yeah, but see, I've done that. If the effect is the flea animation, they sync that so that it doesn't go crazy. Normally I should have some time. The AMV bits are interesting. They do work. This is a rare cell effect I was trying. And obviously I don't emulate that because it's not common. I don't use it yet. Except from this experiment I was doing. I can try that one. On 3DO. This is an interesting one. See that there is a way to have a lot of different blending modes. And see that here I'm actually at the aliasing end. These are more blending, less blending, less blending. different blending level, like 7, 8 blending levels. So this is an extra trick you could do on the cell renderer, but it's a very specialized. Normally you can have one cell that does between two blendings, but then you can also use certain bits in certain modes in your sprite. Only in few modes. If you use fewer bits for the colors, then you have a lot of extra spare bit, and with certain special flags you can actually do that, which is a pretty interesting and less common thing on the cell. Which I could also emulate that. That would be interesting. Obviously, because now it's a rare effect, I don't bother to emulate, and it's also gonna make the engine more complex. At some point, I'm going to be hit by speed will be start being slow. Now this one, oh god, this one. Okay, this doesn't work for a simple reason. Because I have, I'm gonna do that. That would be good to do because I have to implement the mouse on SDL. Because this one, and I have to fix this effect also. It's using the mouse, and now this get mouse position might not return something good. Oh, that goes. Okay, I v-synced it. This does work. It's funny. And if you do that, the Maria beats, no blending. You are supposed to be able to move the mouse. Let's do something stupid. No, come. It's good to enable the v-sync because I will be too slow to press the P button on the application, so I'll enable it here. Okay, yeah, you know, where is it? Okay. Oh, it's not even, okay, division by 0. Yeah. Still. Still. Oh, idiot. Yeah, this is just a hack, guys. Wait, why am I doing this 4 times? I'm increasing this thing. Yeah, okay, this is a hacky code. Okay, this is something I will improve, obviously. I don't know why I'm doing that. 0, 1, 3. Why didn't I put it in a loop? I don't understand. Did I unroll it or something? Oh, whoa. It didn't stop. Oh yeah, that's I have to fix it. Yeah, you are supposed to use the mouse. I have to. I'm not here to fix it now. I'm here to show things in progress, of course. Now this is the voxel, but I don't know why the colors are wrong. In some cases, it's not because the cell renderer is wrong necessarily. It's because in this case I was looking a bit and I realized that I'm doing something. I'm painting some column cells. I have some column cells. And here I'm painting with this. So if you put 0, let's see if that's the place. Yeah, that's the place. And this thing happens. Where is it? Why can I not see it? CV, oh here. This is a color map and a palette map. The color map is 8-bit. I need to see, it might be that this worked for big endian. See, I have to find strategies on how in my okay, I mean, when I was writing it for 3DO, I say, okay, we are in big endian, so we don't care. But now I ported and there are a lot of things. So this is not cell specific. It might be that it happened that this palette and this 16-bit. It just happened. That's my guess. To work fine the way I'm doing. So it's not like I'm loading a cell, which if you load a cell, I have figured it out. But I'm passing the palette now. In the case of on 3DO, I must have said this palette map to be. I'm loading that palette map from a file as far as I know. Do I? Oh, the color map might be. I don't know if this will work. I say palette comes after the bitmap data. It must be something with endianess. Ah, okay, maybe that's it. I don't think if this will work. Let's see. Yeah, this made things worse. Yeah, it might be that. Ah, okay, I know what that is. Yeah, I'm not sure. I need to check it. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I would expect that. The color map is 8-bit, and then I have the palette associated. They are 16-bit value, but maybe they're flipped for. Yeah, see, there are things sometimes. For example, the flea animation. In my previous example, this you have seen the flea. They wouldn't work. It would crash. And I used in the flea animation. I used to do the opposite. I used to do because I was loading it from PC, and on PC it was little endian. Okay. And this is what I use. Big endian is on 3DO. On 3DO I have this defined, so this will run. So on 3DO I would actually on 3DO I would do something like that. Anim if has size equals, you know, but now I'm getting that, and then I see anim flea header size equals long endian anim flea header size. So I did it the other way around. So on PC I'll read that, and then if it's 3DO it will. So there are places where on PC I don't do the endian flip because I did it on the 3DO, because on the 3DO they did. This endian thing, I should have thought of the perfect strategy. But there are other places where it's on PC as I'm reading cell data from cell files. Like parse image on PC, I'm like doing long endian flip and stuff, else things would crash. You see the complexities, and so I have hacked the anim flip to do that, and also I have copied that on the experiments 3DO so that the changes are the same, but I have at some point to think of better strategies for. But the thing is, previously it didn't matter because these projects were exclusive 3DO, but now I realize, oh, I'd like to port some of that stuff. And I don't know why this fails. But this one works. This is how it looks. The rendering is bad, but this is the correct colors and rendering. I realized I have an up-down view, but is it some panning? Maybe it's panning. It's not the real 3D. Look, and do I have... Okay, yeah, oh! I have a fly. By the way... Anyway... This is a pure CPU effect, pretty slow in 3DO. And again, in the other voxel is not pure CPU. I'm using the cell. I might be using the cell with columns, or I might also be using it. My God, the good thing is by having all that stuff, I can slowly start fixing things, implementing more cell formats and so on. So these experiments are valuable because on Bizarro Undergrund, I'm implement much fewer. I just have 4-bit per pixel palletized, 8-bit per pixel palletized. Some lighting and blending, and that's it. Although I have the VDLP here. That heavy view still does quite well. And it's on it's on the experiments that I'm doing more. I have the feedback stuff, I have various AMV bits, I have a lot of things that fail. Now, on Bizarro, okay, this background is a packed cell. I might have some kind of theory, maybe not. And it works. But on the other side, the packed stuff don't work. Okay, I have a theory. This is a packed cell. Which I load the cell, and when you load the cell, you load the data. You don't care. You don't unpack it. I might be flipping the order on the cell flags, if I remember. But maybe I should do it the other way around. I have to think about it. Well, this one is a pack set. It's 320 by 240, but it's only 27 kilobyte because it's packed. I think now that on the experiments, and I'm gonna stop it now. I think now all those examples are not cell data that I load. These are sprites I generated. Okay, I have 4 BBP, palletized probably, 8 BBP, probably palletized also, and 16 BBP, that is raw. And I would generate unpacked stuff, and I would pass it in my packer engine. That takes an uncompressed, unpacked raw bitmap, and it will try to compress it for you. But on the Bizarro, I have used tools to compress a cell, and I later read the cell data, and that's it. But here, it could be that my packer is doing something that you have to be careful about the endianess, maybe. Although I'm not sure why would, I'm not sure. Maybe the cell, okay, maybe, sometimes it might be the cell flags. Because, I might change my strategy. Because on the Bizarro side, when I load a cell, is it here? I would have correct endianess that I would flip the palette, only then it would be correct. I think that's your problem, maybe. I should have done it the other way around, maybe. And I'm also have start and end on cell on the CCP struct on the elements that they had to be flipped. Could it be that I should have not touched them? I should have kept them the way the original data are and handle them in a different place, flip them in a different place, or even that is a good idea. Maybe I'm not doing it because now every other place where I would manually generate cells and I will put the flags myself, which flags are from the hardware. I didn't change those. I need to think about that. Because on the loader I flipped the flags and everything so that they match. But if you throw your own 3DO project or you do stuff, you have to manually do the big endian. No, you shouldn't. I should make this framework friendly so that you take that, you throw your 3DO code and you don't have to make changes. Unless at least for the self flags. Now I cannot predict if on 3DO you make a very specialized effect, some software rendering thing like the water where I have done the shifting so that probably I'm not sure if that's the problem, or on the flea animation I have done it in a way that it works with endianess. This is not something I can predict, this is something you should fix. But if you create cells and you put those flags, this should work. You shouldn't in your code flip the endianness. I should rather, when I use those to check the flags, and I should flip those. I should do it the other way around. I mean, okay, the load cell is a function that I provide myself, but it should not correct the endianness. But the only thing you have is the palette. I have to think it. For some reason the data are right. If I read 16-bit pixel it's right, but the palette, I had to flip the palette for it to make sense. I need to think. Okay, you see the problem here. I have to go to some of the stuff and flip the endianness. Some of the things I have to do it because I'm manually working on different. But some of the things, if you are reading the SDK flags and you are passing it, it should work. You shouldn't flip those ones. Oh boy. Okay. Maybe the way to do is to go to my Bizarro. The proper way to go is in my load cell. Cancel this one. Don't do this one. I flip the flags here, I see. I should not do this one. So if I don't do this one, it's gonna be wrong when I load the cell. And if all of those flags that are checked that are worth, if I control that. If I flip those ones, that's my idea. Oh, but oh my god, it's gonna be pain because I'm using all these masks, and how is this gonna work? Oh boy. Okay, as I should not do that. You should not have to. Of course, those shell utils are part of the SDK that I provide. So I allow me to do that, but I should not do that so that I break Bizarro and I should see, okay, where can I, could it be that, so this thing should be intact. Could it be on the shell render? I will flip the flags when I want to test them. But I don't want to flip them all the time. That's the thing. Oh boy, that is a hard problem. Because what I was doing here, it was for convenience so that Bizarro works. And only Bizarro. But if you are manually creating your own cellars on 3DO and you're setting the flags, this is not gonna work. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. You know what I mean. Anyway. Okay. Oh, the more I work with that, the more I found issues. And I have to put thought of how to design so that a lot of my examples should work. You shouldn't manually have to flip things. Now, some of them are weird because so I hacked things for load cell. Correct cell endianess, correct pal endianess. So after you load cell, it's gonna flip things around so that things work. Okay. Oh, I think I know what happens. I kinda know. And at first I thought, okay, so if you load your own cells and you don't generate, it will be okay. So why does the layers, the parallax work? Because in those cases, I know why. We load the cell, so it should be okay. But do you know what else we do? I'm manipulating the cell. I'm setting cell flags. This is it, guys. I think. On Bizarro Underground, I was just loading the cells and I wasn't manipulating them. However, my god, I'm not sure. I was hacking the Pixie for shading. I think this is it. And I'm doing it here. But the blend kinda works maybe. Oh, I don't do that on the Pixie because somehow the Pixie works. There are things that... I'm not sure now if it's an overlay. Why? Sometimes I think, why do you have to flip the... Should you have to flip the flags when you load? I don't think you should. But only when I have flipped the flags and the palette, only then I got the correct stuff in Bizarro. Anyway, this has been too long, I have to stop it. I was hoping to be a video where I saw, no, those videos will be like this, that's fine, it's just a progress thing. If you find it too long, that's fine. You kind of see where I'm going with that and the issues I keep finding and the progress, but also the issues that need some rethinking. Anyway, see you in next update, I guess. Bye.